Cold out here this morning, minus 3 or 4. And fuck, is that 12? I think it's a 12. Let's see. Bought this Arctic Cat yesterday for $25. The engine's seized. It's got a good track. It's a 1979 Jag 3000, which is a 340cc Suzuki engine. And they made 2 models that year. They made an air-cooled and a fan-cooled. This is that's what the FC stands for, fan cooled, and that's this here. But before I put 10 cents into this motor or this machine, because you can buy these things used for $400, $500, $600, and that are running, you know, that need work. But before I do anything, I just want to see if the cylinders are salvageable and the pistons and rings. If I got to spend $100, $200 there, it's not worth it. I'll just sell it for parts. So I'm going to pull the cylinders out. Should have brought a dish with me. Pick up some of these nuts. It's missing a seat, but I found a seat on Craigslist for $25 with the fuel tank, and the cover's in nice shape, so if I can get it to run, put a seat on it. Should not be that tight. 2, 3, 4 there. I'm gonna get my breaker bar. Holy. From the top, it does not look bad at all. I thought it might be just one solid rust bucket, but it's not. What size is this? This is too big. 13. I grabbed the wrong solid. Surprised none of the studs came out with it. This one, the stud's coming out, I think. Yeah. Yeah, the stud came out with that one. That's that one, that's that one. Wow. Really, there's no rust. You can see in there. There's no rust at all in here. I'm gonna pour some penetrating oil in there. See if I can break it free. I'm still gonna pull the cylinders off and make sure the rings are free and clear and cleaned up. Put some new gaskets in it and put her back together. First I'll see if I can get her to run. It's probably going to need crank seals too, but I don't want to go too far until I make sure that engine is salvageable. Okay, that's it for now. Well, I got the cylinders pulled off and they look in nice shape. And the rings are free here. Maybe a little bit stuck. So I got this all out. Pulled the motor out, and it's still seized. Can't turn the flywheel over. So water must have got into the bottom end and seized the bearings. I can see in the crank flywheel down there, it's all rust. So I'll be splitting the cases on this thing too. I figured if this thing's going to run, it's going to need crank seals because it's been sitting for so long. I think the guy said it ran 2 years ago, but my buddy used to live next door to this property, probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and he said it was sitting out there in the field when he was living there. I got this whole thing for 25 bucks, so can't go too wrong. If it just needs a couple crank seals and a couple bearings, bolt her back up, and see if I can get her running. That's where I'm at today with it. I'm going to special tool to pull that clutch off. I know that, but maybe I can rig something up. And I'm going to pull the fan and the fan pulleys off. Try to get a wrench and wiggle a little bit at either end, get it freed up. And then maybe look for a couple parts for this thing. That's it for now. Just want to get some video of how everything goes here. And I'm going to pull it all apart. This must be the oil pump. Split the cases. Okay, let's show you. There's the 4 bolts for the bottom. The star washers, the 3 clutch bolts, right in there. There's the long main clutch bolt. And that's it. Got the crankcases off. I split the crankcase, and my whole garage smells like mouse shit and mouse piss because they were living inside that clutch in there. I blew it out, it's frickin' everywhere. shouldn't be breathing that shit either. Tried to blow it outside. I mean, it stinks in here. I got to do something. Anyways, there was some water in the bottom of this crankcase, and that's why this all rusted up. And it spins free now, but I got to pull these bearings out and have a look at them. And they're not common bearings because they got sets, locating sets in them for the pins in the crankcase. When that goes back together, we're going to make sure to get those lined right up. But the needle bearings, they feel good, and plus they're off of the bottom. I don't have a clutch puller to pull this off. It's seized. The whole clutch is seized completely solid, doesn't move in any direction. So I got to fix that. I got to get a puller, either borrow one or buy one. That's where I'm at so far with this thing. We got a whole box of parts. I just throw them all in there, take some pictures and videotape it so I know where it goes back together, but I think it's all pretty straightforward. I had a hell of a time getting this off. Hell of a time. I didn't have the puller, so I used put pressure on with a pry bar and then give the crank a good whack with a hammer with the nut on it. Finally popped off. I don't know, I was probably holding the camera there when I was talking. Okay, that's what I got so far. I don't want to put too much into this. I'm probably going to put some new crank seals in it, see if I can save the bearings. Might have to order one or two, I'm not sure. And rebuild that clutch, clean that all up. That should be ready to start putting her back together. Okay.